Follow the people who really know what they're doing. That's all I do. Ray said to me, "Have you ever seen me broke?" I said, "No." He said, "Did you ever see me sick?" Never had. He said, "Do you think I'm a happy guy?" I said, "Yeah." Well, he said, "You know, you got to be one of the most miserable people I've ever met, Bob." And he said, "You're always broke." Yet he said, "You're always sick." He said, "Your way's not working. Why don't you try mine?"
Your mind can conceive and believe your mind can achieve.
I've seen so many changes take place in people's lives. If you go over it often enough, you'll be just as convinced as I am.
I'll never forget it. It started on a Friday night, and I go in the seminar room, and I sit down, and out walks on stage Bob Proctor. I didn't even know who he was, but the minute he started talking, it was like someone took my head off, shook it around, and put it back on, and everything I thought was true was just like upside down.
I met Bob 9 years ago. I was really at the bottom. I was $150,000 in debt, and he said, "If you'll do exactly what I tell you to do, everything will change."
So I remember when I first started being mentored by Bob, he's like, "You got to be willing to get out of your comfort zone, or if not, you're going to continue to stay stuck."
Mikey Seller here was a nanny, no business experience, when she came to work with our company. She's the chief operating officer of our company today. And it's by studying this material. Any of the people that work in our company, you're going to find out they are genuinely nice people. This is not a common or a normal environment. You've got people that have come from all different walks of life. They've come from various different parts of the world, and they've all come for the same reason. There's something in here that's attracting them. There's something they're in harmony with. There's something they want to get.
Spirit is for expansion and fuller expression. We always want to expand in a bigger way. We want to introduce ourselves to a part of ourselves we never even knew was there.
You got to take massive action. If you guys are going to create what you're capable of creating, you have got to go out and do. Like Emerson says, do the thing will give you power.
You see, when you work at this kind of a business, as many years as I've worked at, you see a lot of different things. Follow the people who really know what they're doing. That's all I do. Earning money is like driving a car or combing your hair or getting dressed. You just have to learn how to do it. I love what Earl said. Most people think they want more money than they really do, and they settle for a lot less than they could earn.
What do you do when you first wake up? Do you go get on your phone first? Do you get on your email first? Do you go get a cup of coffee? It's the same routine, in and out, in and out. We got to begin thinking in a new way.
There's so much coming at us now with social media, with the way the world is, that we've got to be very disciplined in what we allow in. How you start your day is how you own your day. Am I just going to tiptoe, or am I going to go attack the day?
And if we don't, nothing's going to change.
This is real. This is something you can do.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to day one of High Income Habits, 5 days to manifesting financial freedom. I'm Mikey Stiller, the Chief Operating Officer and Director of Marketing for the Proctor Gallagher Institute, and your hostess for this week. Buckle up. We are going to have an incredible 5 days together. If you've been looking forward to creating high income habits in your life and reaching maybe a high 6-figure or 7-figure income, you are in the right place. This is the right time. So what I want you to do is put aside all distractions, put your phone on silent, set aside everything that might distract you, get out a pen and a piece of paper. You're definitely going to want to take notes. And I'm going to give you a little preview of how today and this week is going to go. So here in just a few minutes, we're going to play about a 16-minute video lesson from Bob to get us rolling today. Then I am going to be on with our Senior Vice President and top coach at the Proctor Gallagher Institute, someone who studied side by side with Bob for almost 14 years, shared the stage with him. Bob taught him not only how to coach, but how to teach this material. So you're going to be in great hands as we lay the foundation for high-income habits. Then we'll be joined by another vice president, Monica DeMarin, who is going to give us a daily assignment. Every day will look really similar today, but a little bit different. The topics will be different. And on Friday, we'll join you for a full hour Q&A with Arash. All right, I don't want to take up too much time with housekeeping items, so we're going to get started. Here is that recording of Bob, 16 minutes, and Arash and I are going to meet you on the other side.
Now look here for a moment. Watch this carefully. This white line is going to represent the sound of me talking. The red line represents you listening to me talking. Okay? Let's do that over again. The white line represents me talking. It could be on a recording of it. I'm talking. The red line represents you listening to me talking. You listen with your emotions, not your ears. You can hear me, but not listen to me. Your spouse is accusing you of that all the time. No, I'm listening. What did I say? Well, I don't know. You can hear without listening. Everybody can hear without listening. Well, the red line represents you listening. And you're listening to the recording, and all of a sudden, bang, an idea hits, and where do you go? You go off on a thought trip. You're up here on a thought trip. The yellow line represents you thinking about the idea, and you're not listening anymore. You see, right here, where's the, yeah, it's there, you can't see it. The white line under the yellow, I'm still talking, but you're not listening. And then you come back down after thinking about that idea a bit, and you start listening again, and you move along, and poof, another idea hits, and away you go on another thought trip. So do you see, the truth is, you could listen to the same recording many times and only listen to a little bit. It took me 9.5 years to figure this out. Why did I change? I listen to that strangest secret so often. I listen to all of Earl's recordings so much that I can pretty well go word for word with them on almost any of them. I burned it into my mind. And because it burned into my mind, my behavior started to change. My vibration changed. And what I attracted into my life changed. Now, that's you listening to it once. I want you to think of this. Do you think next time you're listening, you're going to stop at the same idea? Highly unlikely. How did you get the ideas fixed in your mind? Well, when you were an infant, those ideas were programmed into your subconscious mind just over and over and over. Your mind was wide open. So everything that was going on, it was going in there over and over and over again. And that's what you have to do if you're going to change it. You got to put the ideas over and over and over again. Now, you see, you're not going to stop at the same place. As this starts to play, you are not going to stop at that same place. You're going to come in, you're going to start listening, you'll stop at a different place. What do you think the odds are of this happening? The odds are so remote that it's not going to happen. A new idea hits, woo, away you go on another thought trip. If you listen to the same thing often enough, it will sink in to your subconscious mind. When it does, then you got it. When somebody comes in our organization to sell, we give them recordings to listen to. And you know, every sale that's made comes across this phone. Every sale that's made.
And do you know what I can tell? I can tell the ones that are listening to those recordings, and I can tell the ones that are not. You know how I tell? It's by results. Do you know that, Pamela, results always tell the truth? Always. Do you have kids? Kids don't understand that until they get a little older, do they? They'll say, well, how do you know? Oh, the results are so obvious. You can't miss it. You're getting it, aren't you? Yeah, you see that. It's sinking in. Do you see how you keep listening to this over and over and over, Brent? And if you don't keep listening to it, you're not going to get it. See? Now, when you get it, Earl, you got it. Are you two together? Man, I wouldn't want to be around if there's a disagreement on something. There would be trouble in River City. Neither one of these two are lightweights, believe me. They have both got a very strong, persistent streak. It's going to be my way or the highway. And they're both like that. My goodness. How long have you been together?
12 years.
12. Well, you're learning how to get along then. Because, Earl's saying, how do you know that? I can tell just by reading their energy. You're very much alike. She said 12. He says 13. You see, I'm always right. Pamela's got smart. Let him have his own way. It's 13 years. Who cares? You see? No. Listen. It's not often that two people that are so much alike get together. If they make it, they really make it. But golly, I mean, you two are so strong. Neither one of you want to give in on. And you know, this strange thing, it's almost like you're twins. Identical, because you've got about that much right brain in you, and so does he. You both got a little bit of an emotional, but you both keep it suppressed. You hold it in. You don't really express your feelings the way you really want to. What do you do, Earl? You're an engineer. Well, you know things are exact then, don't you? And you also know I'm right about you. Yes, you do. You may not want to admit it, but you do know. You see? Do you manage people?
I try to.
Okay. This would be valuable to know this, wouldn't it? In managing. Yeah, it would be very valuable. Well, if I can do it, you can do it. And you see me do, you can do. Anything I see you do, I can do. How many of you saw Chorus Line? Few of you. If you get the movie, you want to watch it. There's a young guy, he goes to dance with his sister. And one day he says, I can do that. That was a key line in the movie. I can do that. Didn't matter what they did. He said, I can do that. And of course, he became a big dancer, a big star in the movie. Well, you want to get that going in your mind. When you see somebody do something that you really admire, say, I can do that. You have an image of you. I have an image of me. Do you know how I make my image? Every now and then I'll review it. I haven't done it for a while because I'm pretty happy with me. I will think of some people that I really admire. And I'll think of this or I'll think of that. I'll think of something I really like in their personality that I'm not too fond of on my own. So I will start seeing me with that. Now, I've done this to a ridiculous degree because, you see, when I started this, I really didn't like me, and today I like me. But it didn't happen by accident. It happened because I was continually changing how I saw me. When I was a kid, there was a young guy I chummed around with. He lived down the street from us on the other side of the street, but down quite a ways. Donnie Miller. Donnie Miller's dad was at home. He was one of the few guys out of about 25 of us that had a father at home. All the other fathers were either in Europe or in the South fighting, shooting at each other. This was during the war, the big one. And Donnie's dad we never went around his house, so I never really got to know his dad. They came around our house, but nobody went to his house. His dad was not well. His dad had a heart attack. Wasn't very old, couldn't have been at that age. And the doctor had obviously told him to walk. Now, this is only reflecting that I could see that. You'd often see him, he'd be walking up and down the street. He'd walk way up to the corner and then turn around, and he'd walk back. Always stuck in my mind. This guy looked so relaxed. He was always well dressed. When I started to build a new self-image, I started to image myself walking like Dundee Miller's dad. You'll very rarely see me going very fast. I'm just relaxed. Unless I'm trying to get away from something or, And I read a book, How Showmanship Sells, by Elmer G. Letterman. When I read the book, I just started selling. I had one suit, and it was a heavy wool tweed, and it was in the summer, and that damn thing used to scratch my legs. I made up my mind if I ever had any money, I'd have that thing cleaned and burned. Elmer G. Letterman was the best dressed man in America. One of them, he was the Beau Brummel in America. Because of a pair of shoes he was wearing, his whole life changed. He was at a party. A man came over 3 times during the party and complimented him on his shoes. He said he offered to take the man to his bootmaker. The man that kept coming over and complimenting on his shoes' name was A.E. Lovecroft. Elmer Letterman was a young guy. When he turned 21, he went into the insurance business. And his new friend, A.E. Lovecroft, held a party for him and invited all his wealthy friends. Then he told them that his new friend, Elmer Letterman, was going into the insurance business and he wanted all of them to buy a policy from him. The first day he was in the insurance industry, the first day, in 1921, he sold $1,250,000 worth of insurance the first day. And in 1921, if you sold $1 million in a year, you were considered a star in the industry. He sold $1,250,000 his first day because of a pair of shoes. Then in the buildings, Lovecroft had a plaque put up. This building and all its contents are insured by Elmer G. Letterman and Associates. And I read he had 30 suits, and I thought, 30 suits? I had one that scratched my legs. I made a decision I was going to have 30 suits. Now, around the same time, there was another TV show, and they'd have a pitch man stand up. It was Arthur Godfrey. Some of you are old enough to remember Arthur Godfrey. Well, he had a guy working for him, Tony Marvin. Tony was a tall, dark, good-looking guy, and Tony'd come to the microphone to do the commercials. And one day they were doing the show down at the Sheraton 4 in Miami, so they were sitting outside. Now, he had just a Hawaiian shirt or something, but Tony was in his suit. And Arthur said to Tony, "Tony, how many suits you got?" He said, "Oh, about 60. I thought, 60 suits? 30 suits? And so I made a deal with myself. I just started to sell. I was selling for me. And I made a deal with me. If I sold a certain amount, I would go and buy myself a new suit. And I sold that much, but I didn't buy the suit. I needed something else to be paid, so the money went there. And a month or so later, I thought, I'll have a contest. Because these sales books I was saying, they have contests, so I'll have a contest. And I thought, if I sell a certain amount, I'll buy a suit. But then my own self said to me, but you won't buy the suit. You lied to yourself. You're not honest with you. You did sell that much and you didn't buy the suit, you spent the money. So I not only learned this great salesman was one of America's best dressed men, I learned you got to be honest with yourself. If you tell yourself you're going to do something, you better do it. If you're dishonest with yourself, you're going to be dishonest with everybody. You can't be dishonest and win. You got to be honest with yourself. And you're going to understand this. If you want to change your paradigm, you've got to put the new idea in your mind over and over and over and over and over. Now, your intellect is going to say, Tony, this is silly. I mean, what the hell? I know this. But you don't do it. But if you will take a very positive statement, take something you don't like about yourself that you're doing, and say, I am going to change that. How do you change it? You think of something that's essentially the opposite to what you want to change. Write it out in the present tense. I'm so happy and grateful now in the present tense. And you keep repeating it, keep repeating it, keep repeating it. Turn it into a song if you have to. Keep writing it out over and over and over. Keep repeating it. And you know something? You will become it. Because that's the way it works. That's the way it's always worked. That's the way it always will work. You're dealing with the innate mind. The innate mind is immoral. It does not care what you plant, but whatever you plant, that's what you're going to get, baby. Some people are thinking that God's going to do it for them. God will do nothing for you. God's already done something. Give you everything you need. You got to make the decisions. You got to follow the rules. I read a book one time where it said God will feed every bird, but he will not put food in their nest. You got to do it for yourself. You don't do it for yourself. You're not going to cut it. You're just not going to do it. See, you could sit and say, well, gee, why the hell didn't they teach me this in school? I don't know, but they didn't. So who cares? You know it now. You understand it. Start fixing it in your subjective mind, and your whole world will change.
All right, everyone, 16 minutes of magic from Mr. Bob Proctor. Just what all of us need to start our Monday and day one of High Income Habits. Now I'm